Hello, Self, Cosmos, Ohana, Soul Dr. Nick here. This is Magic Mirror work for Saturday, November 15th, 2025, around probably 7:20, 7:30 a.m. in the morning. I've been out here since about 7 a.m. First light here for sunrise. It's totally cloudy, hazy, foggy, drizzling. Got the fire in front of me. Got a blanket on me that's from PEI, a nice wool blanket that's made it all the way to Hong Kong and Taiwan and back here. My dear cousin Icy has lent it to me for now. I've got some dear friends over who are deep in the work, similar lines of work, and we're coming together to have conversations, to connect, to be facilitators together. And part of it is what I've come to is almost an inspiration this morning, having a talk maybe with a flying sage or someone else, almost a little bit of a morbidity and mortality rounds almost. The idea of the past, my past life. I've never actually been to one, but I've heard enough about them. I've been to debriefs from unexpected deaths. And it's the whole idea of every time something happens, how can we take a look back and practice going through it? Now I can see now how I want to create it in a space of let's come back to it. And if we're really willing to go through it, we're on your side. There's no one to blame. There's not agreement we're trying to find. Rather than how do you both look forward from that place and just be clear about what it was that happened from your eyes. There's no objective truth. How do we take a look at it from this current lens, and how we take a look from a future lens? What would we want to prepare for, do differently, learn differently, experience differently? And then how do we already both give ourselves the forgiveness? Thank you for giving me this opportunity for the past, the present, and the future. And taking a look from the lens that we have while also taking the best from our old patterning and our old systems. And I'm saying that because these are some of the earliest innovations almost. And these are the innovations I can see. And it probably didn't come from Western medicine. It probably came even before that. But Western medicine is the place that I've trained from, so I'm drawing it from there. And I'm just imagining when it comes down to it, when there used to be more lineages that were training each other, these were the stories that get to be told and shared and experienced that way and collectively experienced. And I think that what I'm realizing is both how can I be an elder in this role already, and then how can I seek out those that I want to learn from their experiences of what has happened before in deep experiential journeys. And it's irrespective of the medicine in a way sometimes, because even the medicine of breath can cause things like breath holding, turning blue, things like that. Almost a feeling that spirit leaves, like holding for minutes on end. And I'm so grateful for the medical training I have, that the overall autonomic nervous system, that's how we describe it, and the automatic breathing happens. So if we're holding our breath, then eventually when we pass out, we'll start breathing again. And the only thing that is unclear sometimes is whether there's such an underlying disease, whether there's underlying medications that are there or other suppressants, whether there's any other interactions that are going on. And I'm going to go even further, whether there is some astrological or resonance piece coming from the earth that someone's reacting to. And then the part that I recognize this today, I spoke more of, is each of us, I have this current belief. Doesn't mean it's true for everyone, but so far I've been able to see it in everyone that I've met to varying degrees, a death urge. There's a part that it's almost patterned into us about the dying, the whole dying process. And on top of that, it's the part where it's like it almost feels easier to die than to go through the complexities and the nuances of living, and the guilt and the shame and the patternings and the fear and the anger and the smallness and the bigness and the dissatisfaction and the wanting what we don't have and not wanting what we do have, all those pieces. And I see it partly because it's a reflection of me. I've talked about the fact that when I was at the end of my medical career, I was suicidal at that time. I felt anxious, I was depressed, I was traumatized, all these different things. And there's always a part of me that read books. I can't remember what it's called now, but there's a book where a little guy was practicing a thing that he knew he was going to become almost a martyr for eventually. And he was practicing it. And I had it in my dreams sometimes that I'd become a martyr. I'd save everyone somehow. I'd dive onto the grenade. And then people remember me as the person that actually sacrificed himself. And there's no way that anyone could say anything bad about me or ill about me because of what I'd done. rather than living the nuance of being alive and recognizing there's times that I do amazing stuff and times that I'm like, holy crap, I'm dumb as a nail, and times I'm like, I can't believe I was manipulative and greedy and selfish, and times where I'm like, I can forgive myself, and times that I can't. And all of it is just part of the humanness of being alive. And then I can recognize sometimes, when am I sacrificing myself, my stress, all that stuff, and giving surrogate markers on just being alive. So that's part of the piece. And if that death urge is really strong in someone, perhaps don't dive into something with them, because that may amplify that death urge. And that's a piece that I'm saying out loud to others so I can say it out loud to myself, because I'm not here to save anyone. One of the things that has come up before is that I don't get to control who lives or dies. That's not my role, my responsibility, my desire. And yet there has been, from my own patterning and underlying desire for that, the number of people in my lineage, at least the parts that I do know, who have been in the healthcare field, who have wanted that, because there's this idea that if we can prevent death, that's better too. Rather than life and death are just part of the continuum, how do I be as honest, truthful, transparent as I can be in any moment, knowing that there is this outside of reality, this objective reality, this idea of life and death. The more I work, the more I live, the more I realize that's not the truth. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience. More often than not, we're starting to tune in, we're cross-tuning in with each other. And as I see technology, it's a tool to enhance all this stuff. It is, in times, it feels like it's interfering, but that's also still part of the mind. How do I take all this stuff and transmute it, as my dear friend Elizabeth says? It can all be transmuted. It's all energy for the trees and everything else. So that's one thought process. And this is my magic mirror work. So this is for me, by me, through me, as me, sourcing me, giving me awareness. And if someone is watching this, that's up to you. You go through this. This is your choice. Now, having said that, the second piece that I'm contemplating right now, it came and then it went, it came and then it went, it came and then it went. I'm going a little fast because I really didn't want to lose it, and I have now. What is truly lost can never be found. I'm just saying that to remind myself. And when it's found, it reminds you it was never lost. It was just saying bye-bye for a moment. It's wonderful to see my 5-year-old start to open up with others. It's interesting to notice how everyone, because of his age, is talking about school. It's so patterned that this is the age we start talking about it. And then I'm really grateful for the time that I heard someone say, give me a child till they're 7 and I'll tell you the man they're supposed to be. They're going to be. And I can see this more and more now. And how do we both hold on and let go? Hold on and let go. Because I don't want him just to be a version of me. And sometimes when he's interacting with others, I just step away, because I feel like I've given him enough basis that he knows how to push, how to reject, how to stand on his own. And I recognize, and the remembrance is, he's still a child. It's part of my role as a father to protect. And so to notice that and to keep reminding him, he can always reach out. He can always ask for help. He can always tell. He can always disclose. He can always scream. He can always yell, especially when something really is impacting him, especially when it's around other people. A big part of the trust that we're practicing reinforcing is the trust with us, in the ways that we're always on his side. So part of it probably for me is shifting the teaching to reminding him we're always on his side. Whatever happens, he can always tell us. He can always share with us. Whatever happens, he can always tell us. He can always share with us. And that's the truth. And if anyone says that you can't tell mom and dad, then that's a part you probably want to remind yourself you can tell mom and dad. So there's that piece. And I'm talking about that because so many parents now feel it's a duty, it's an obligation to talk to their kids about and I'm just going to be transparent, sexual touching, about anything that might lead to abuse, things like that. And I have this resistance to it. I have this resistance to focusing on that, of almost demonizing the genitalia. And instead, how do I keep empowering? How do I keep making that just another piece of things? And I realize I have the privilege of, I believe, not having had any sexual trauma in that sense myself. And so I'm like, why are we focusing on it? Why are we honing in on it? Why are we making it such a big deal out of that specific thing? When what I would really love is that we minimize the amount of actual harm, trauma that's there in the ways that we can, while also making space for any learnings, any lessons from hurt that he already is choosing to go through. Because one of the things that I realize, and as I talk to people, we realize part of what makes us who we are is all that we went through. And yesterday I was sitting up here going, thank you for every really, really crummy thing that's happened, that I've gotten through, that I've survived, because I get to now have had that big lesson. And every time I reflect on it, I can create another layer of a lesson without having to go through that again. And as I keep reminding myself of the awareness of having gone through it, I'll say it this way right now, I'm hopeful that I don't have to go through something of that magnitude again, and that I can keep hearing ripples in that way. I don't have to keep repeating the same things. Whatever I want can be at a different magnitude, in a different realm, in a different way. And that's not to say there aren't unexpected things. Man, I thought it was the worst when I was 30. And then when I was 38 and going through the no-thingness, the nothingness, the forgetting of all that I am, almost going through psychotic breaks, going through death cycles, I was like, holy crap, does it get any worse than this? And it may feel at some point like it does get worse. And every moment I'm reminding myself the resilience that I have. And sometimes that's it as well, is being able to remind myself the resilience. And part of it is even I'm learning with my son, like when he's hitting me, when he's beating me almost, and I'm inviting it, I'm encouraging it, he's both learning how to hit and I'm learning how to receive. And every now and then I remind him, like, he's like, I'm stronger than you. He's like, do you want daddy to push you, hit you too? He's like, no. It's like, cool. And know that if you ever want to experience anything, novelty's not the same, we can work with that. And that's up to him. But sometimes when he hits me so hard, I can tell that almost, I imagine it hurts his hand. And he always says it doesn't. And it's just kind of interesting that happens. So I'm excited with life. I'm excited right now. I'm going to be stepping into Breath Alchemy with Bob Frizzell. I'm excited to learn about Simone Gray Soul and Dr. Joey, who they're creating this ancestral wealth course for people of the global majority, anyone who is non-Caucasian right now, because there's a growing remembrance of the lineage of the ancestors, of reconnecting, recommuning with spirit in different ways, of redefining what capitalism, what profit, what sharing, what mutual aid, what sacred reciprocity, other words can be, mean, and do. And I'm really appreciating that, and also recognizing how important it is for me to not try to overcommit to multiple paths at the same time. And most likely I'm going to keep going down this path of breath alchemy right now with a white man teaching me, rather than going to that right away. But I'm right on the fence. I'm right on the fence right now. And I don't know which way to go for sure, but it just is. And that's just practicing, because this is probably part of the resistance to actually stepping into the breath alchemy. I'm remembering that as I'm reading the books, the more I actually am 100% committed to something, the more something else is going to come up. And it's my 100% commitment, and then my mind is going, what am I actually committed to? And I already told it to him. Like, I get the spiritual side of things in a way, and I'm like, no, health, wealth, family, freedom. If I can really focus on those things and take a look at it and step into what are the blocks, what's coming up that's blocking freedom, family, wealth, and health, then what might change? And what might change is noticing, because one of the things that they were talking about at the very end of this podcast I was listening to, because Simone had actually interviewed her mom and asked her, like, what was the secret to her wealth? Because when she was over 50, she created a 7-figure business for the first time. And part of it was just, if you're going to spend money, spend it and be really grateful for it. If it's going to go out, be grateful for it going out, and be really clear on what you want to spend it on, and have the best of certain things. And they're like, okay, any student that comes, we're going to make sure that they actually get all the extra help that they need to fulfill their course. They're going to buy the desks and replace them and make sure that they're comfortable. They're going to have chairs that are comfortable. They're going to have the newest and latest projector, because that matters. And so for me, what are the tools that matter? What are the things that matter? What are the experiences that matter, so I can deliver the best version of what I have? And then also have the gratitude. And this is a part I'm practicing on remembering, because I forget at times, because there's a part of me that's that little ungrateful child who's like, I deserve, rather than, holy crap, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm going to come back to that and saying thank you. I would come back to that and saying thank you. Thank you to my clients. Thank you to the people. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I'm going to practice that right now in a second. I'm going to thank people who have sent me a gift, and start there. And there may be a family thank you as well at some point, but I'm going to start with a personal thank you. And that's a great place to start. Where's the personal thank you? Where's the personal thank you to start? Sometimes it's so hard. Sometimes it's so freaking hard. to go through these things. And it's not hard at all. So this is the first part of Magic Mirror work. I'm probably going to be up here for about an hour doing things. I might record a second one. A lot of love. Ciao for now.